So did Megan Fox just cancel herself? What's up, everyone? Jared from Patriots and Pop Culture here. I apologize for not being able to produce a regular amount of content here recently. These summers are a little hard for me with everybody being down here for my family. Most days I have a house full of 3 girls who are constantly fighting and a wife who needs my help in trying to control that situation. So the videos at the moment are going to be a little bit sporadic, but I will try to pop some out every now and then. But today I ran across a really interesting article coming from the Daily Caller. Obviously, that is a conservative-based website, so they are going to have their own biases. But that's okay, because I have read news before from very left-leaning sources as well. But this one was kind of interesting, considering the fact that the story is apparently coming from a taping of Jimmy Kimmel Live that happened, if I'm reading correctly, it happened today and it will be airing tonight. And it involved an interview with Megan Fox, who was at this weekend's UFC fight in Las Vegas. And Jimmy Kimmel asked her about what it was like being that close to former President Donald Trump. So let's see what she had to say. He was a legend. Megan Fox talks about sitting near Trump at UFC fight. Megan Fox talked about sitting near former President Donald Trump at the Conor McGregor-Dustin Poirier UFC fight in Las Vegas, calling him a legend. I was in a row with Justin Bieber. Donald Trump was also in my row, the 35-year-old actress revealed during her appearance on the Tuesday Jimmy Kimmel Live show. And I've never seen a Secret Service person before, she added. So he, talking about President Trump, had like 30 Secret Service with him. He was a legend. That arena was like very supportive of Trump when he came in. I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. Because if someone is a target, then I'm like, I could get harmed because I'm like adjacent to where he is. So I was worried about my own safety. That's all I was caring about. This past weekend's UFC pay-per-view in Las Vegas was also aired, I believe, on ESPN. I don't know exactly, and I'm not going to look it up right now. But I don't have cable, and honestly, I could really care less about what ESPN does, given their current track record of hypocrisy. When you have analysts like Rachel Nichols having her private conversations made public and demonize her and then take her off of jobs that she has earned and give it to somebody who maybe hasn't earned it, but they had to get a diversity quota in for the NBA Finals. And I believe they did it last year too in the NBA bubble. Although nobody watched it, the ratings sucked last year and the ratings sucked this year. But the hypocrisy about the whole thing is that Stephen A. Smith can talk about how Shohei Ohtani of the Anaheim Angels, how it's hard for him to be the face of the league whenever he has to have an interpreter because I believe he's a Japanese-born player. He's leading the league in home runs, I believe, and he's also the starting pitcher for the All-Star game. And we haven't seen a player like that since Babe Ruth. And Stephen A. Smith said something that, in a lot of people's opinions, is extremely racist. So he doesn't get in trouble for it. Now, he does have to go do like this worldwide apology tour, which he's currently doing, but he's not going to have any real repercussions from it. Rachel Nichols, on the other hand, is going to probably be taken off of her show, The Jump, despite the fact that whenever she got that show, she hired all black analysts, and not a single person who has spoken about her, who knows her in person, specifically Steven Jackson, said that she's not a racist person. But her private conversation was taken way out of context because they had to demonize somebody. So I really don't care what ESPN does. But it is really ironic that nobody really knew that President Trump was at the fight unless you read about it later. UFC President Dana White allowed President Trump to go down to the front for the main event. And he was given the option to go into a press box or to go into a luxury box or something like that. And he wanted to be up front and close and see the fight. And he didn't care if there was going to be boos. And trust me, there was some boos. I've watched some of the clips of him going down. You have Mel Gibson there. For 3 seconds, you see him as Trump is walking down, and he salutes the president. And all day, yesterday or the day before, I'm not really sure. I think it was yesterday. Twitter just went completely insane trying to cancel Mel Gibson. But as President Trump was walking down there, you hear chants of USA, 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 completely drowning out any boos that were there. Because unlike all of the other professional sports, UFC does not tell their fighters or their fans how to feel and what to say. It's a big part of why I still like the UFC, because some of the fights are really overhyped, but none of that really matters whenever at least they're doing their very best not to be political. Now, you have some of the fighters that do some political things. You have Colby Covington, who is a huge Trump supporter, and the fans that he has garnered from that support him in that. And you have other fighters who have gone into the octagon wearing BLM shirts. And you have some fans that support that. And you have fans on both sides of that who oppose what those fighters stand for. But the company's not telling them what they can and cannot do. So it's a wonderful thing. It's very rare. You see what's gone on in all of the other major American sports, probably with the exception of hockey, where you actually have the fans singing the national anthem. But in every other sport that we have, you have nothing but pandering and virtue signaling and a bunch of woke nonsense that has completely destroyed the entertainment value of what we used to try to get away from the real life from and watch sports as a form of entertainment. UFC still has that. President Trump goes down there. Apparently he sits in a row with Justin Bieber, good little Christian boy now, Machine Gun Kelly, and Megan Fox. And I'm actually curious to know what he thinks about her comments calling President Trump a legend, just because mainstream hip-hop artists don't really seem to fall in line with any real conservative values, at least in the public eye. Although, given the fact that they don't want to be taxed 60+%, a lot of them probably actually do have conservative values. Just look at 50 Cent moving down to Texas. He doesn't want to deal with that bullshit in New York. Look at all the people who fled California because of how bad it's been run. Coming to Texas, coming to Florida, going to Tennessee. States with no state tax and all actually have conservative leadership. So it's interesting to see. Now, you can't say just because of Megan Fox's statement that she leans right or left or anything in particular. And I believe she's been pretty apolitical for her entire career. She's not one of these like Taylor Swift who say she's not going to get into politics, and then as soon as the opportunity comes up, almost like she was forced to, or else she was going to be canceled, got really, really political and even endorsed Joe Biden. I have never seen Megan Fox do anything like that. Granted, I don't pay that much attention to a lot of Hollywood celebrities and what they say in interviews and their personal lives and all that kind of stuff, because they're just regular people and we shouldn't be taking what they say that seriously. They are no better than any of us. They just have a job where they get to play pretend and they get to be on TV and in movies and become famous, but they're still regular people. As a matter of fact, I've heard that there's a lot of talk going on right now that most of Hollywood is actually really, really against what's going on in Hollywood, but they're too afraid to say anything about it for fear of being canceled by the leftist cancel culture mob, despite the fact that they say it's consequence culture, but it never goes the other way. And when it does, it's normally a middle of the road person who maybe leans slightly left. But if you're really, really left, you're pretty safe and you can do whatever you want. So will Megan Fox actually be canceled for this? Maybe. I mean, she doesn't have a huge career like she did whenever she was starring in the Transformers films and she had her own starring roles, despite the fact of what you may think about the movies that she's done or her acting ability. Overall, she's, for the most part, at least I believe, seemed like a very sweet person. She's been very open and candid about some of her mental breakdown problems that she's had, some emotional things, and depression, in a way that it doesn't seem like she's trying to get pity. She's just explaining what happened and maybe trying to bring awareness to some of the things that a lot of people tend to ignore. That's cool. But she called President Trump a legend. Think about that. On Jimmy Kimmel, one of the biggest Trump haters of all time. Now, granted, his show is so bad right now because he doesn't have the big orange boogeyman to go after. And even whenever Trump was in office, his show was bad. Late night Hollywood talk shows over the past 4 or 5 years have proven just how unfunny they really are and how unimaginative they really are, and that they lack a lot of creativity. It's the same jokes over and over. And for the past half decade or so, it's been jokes primarily about Orange Man Bad. And Megan Fox called Trump a legend on Jimmy Kimmel Live, which I find funny. They say Jimmy Kimmel Live is supposed to air tonight, but the article's already out. Not really live. What happened to the shows being live, Jimmy? Maybe you should change the name of your show? Just a thought. What do you guys think about all this? Do you think Megan Fox is going to be canceled for calling Trump a legend on a leftist late night talk show? Do you think Twitter's going to erupt when it airs? I kind of do. I think cancel Megan Fox is going to be trending all day tomorrow. Leftist heads are going to explode. How dare she? She's supposed to be on our side. Nothing saying that she's not on your side. She very well may be. But she was acknowledging the fact that that crowd at that fight in Las Vegas was very, very, very pro-Trump. And you also have to think that President Trump is the first president to ever go see a UFC event live whenever he did it in 2019. And he's been friends with Dana White for 20 years. The man wasn't afraid to be seen in public knowing that some people there were not going to like him. But his approval at that stadium was overwhelming. Let me know your thoughts on this. I'm curious what other people think about this. I don't necessarily think that this means that she is pro-Trump or not. I just think she acknowledged the obvious, and I think that the leftists and the Twitter mob are going to go after her because they're going to take what she said completely out of context. Let me know what you think about this in the comments, guys. Make sure to like the video, share the video. If you are not subscribed, please do subscribe, and hit the bell to get notifications for future videos. And once again, I apologize that videos have not been more frequent, and I will try to do better. Summer is hard for me. I do have a very demanding day job where I go back and forth from days and nights, and I work 12-hour shifts, and I'm on call a lot. It's not really that much of an excuse. I could have done some stuff over the past couple of weeks, and I will try to do better. She's supposed to be on our side. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And as my kid says,
click on bell
to get notifications for upcoming videos.